Welcome to another episode of Lifelong Learner. This is the Out of Class edition with Ben, Janesh, and Matt. Hope you enjoy.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Lifelong Learner. Welcome, Matt. Welcome, Ben. How are we all doing?
Fantastic. Really good. Really good. Good to see you, boys. I was just thinking, I was just thinking about you two while I was in the shower.
Wouldn't be the first time. Wouldn't be the first time.
You're only human, mate.
Usually I charge for that, but that's okay.
Yeah, which was actually true. I was in the shower and I thought, I've got the podcast coming up in a few minutes, and what about the podcast? And I'm thinking, it's really just good to catch up with these two guys every couple of weeks. It's just really good to just, whether anyone's listening, and Logan, thanks for listening.
Yeah, cheers, Logan.
But whether anyone else is listening, it's just great to catch up with you guys and hear what's going on in your worlds and share some wisdom and the diversity of our characters, the diversity of our demographics, both from our physical locations and our age differences, and just to have that diversity, mixed into a conversation that has an underlying universal theme. It's really cool. So good to see you.
Thanks for making me feel valued first thing in the morning. I really appreciate that.
It is good.
It's my pleasure. Now, Matty, you did share something with us just prior. I think I was there to stir the pot. I'm actually talking about Ahmed, the video that you shared around. So for our listeners, Matty sent us, I think it was an Instagram clip, and a guy's asked ChatGPT, what was the question? How do I destroy mankind? Or if I wanted to,
what would the devil look like?
Yeah, if you were the devil and you were going to destroy masculinity, how would you do it? Oh, you were going to destroy men, how would you do it?
And it was an interesting response. What was the take home in the response for you, Matty?
Well, Janesh, can you just, like Joe Rogan, just quickly snap to that clip? We'll watch it all together, and then we'll go from there.
There may be a possibility of that, mate. I don't have a gopher like Joe Rogan. However, I like to think I'm very good at what I do. So bear with me. I can
feel the space where you look.
It's a long clip.
Hey, ChatGPT, if you were the devil, how would you destroy men in the 21st century?
If I were the devil and I wanted to destroy men in the 21st century, I'd start by removing their sense of purpose. I'd make them comfortable with mediocrity. I'd drown them in distractions, video games, endless scrolling, mindless entertainment, until years slip by and they wonder why they never built anything meaningful.
Sorry.
Mate, I actually asked while that was on, I asked Sam, and it was really interesting, his response, and I'm happy to quickly zip through it.
Go for it.
What would you do? If I was the devil, I would, and wanted to destroy masculinity, I would blur definitions, make the word masculine feel shameful and toxic, remove clarity around what a man is, biologically, psychologically, and spiritually, replace strength with aggression, discipline with control, and leadership with domination, dismantle fatherhood, undermine father figures in media, homes, and schools, promote absenteeism, weakness, and ridicule of dads, remove initiation rituals, attack brotherhood, isolate men from each other, discourage male friendships, sabotage physical strength, promote sedentary lifestyles and poor food choices, demonize hard physical effort and glorify convenience, disconnect men from their bodies, replacing movement with escapism, encourage numbness, push addictions, porn, drugs, alcohol, mock responsibility, celebrate extended adolescence, glorify chaos, shame duty, commitment, and fatherhood, invert virtue, replace honor with status, replace courage with popularity, replace integrity with hustle, disconnect from sacred, make men cynical about purpose, God, and soul, remove the inner compass so they don't know what to protect, provide, or pursue. And then Sam said to me, would you like me to flip this and write a version of what the antidote might be?
Thanks,
if you were designing a culture to strengthen masculinity. Now, I haven't read this yet, so here we go. I would Define masculinity with clarity and pride. Root it in virtue, not ego, strength, discipline, courage, integrity, and service. Teach that masculinity is not toxic, immaturity is. Reinforce that masculinity isn't dominance over others, but mastery over self. Restore the rite of passage, rebuild brotherhood, reclaim the body, train, not for aesthetic alone. Well, you do a little bit of that. Fuel the vessel worthy of mission. Fuel the body with discipline, clean food, quality sleep, cold exposure, fasting, breath work. Let pain and effort become daily practice, a liturgy of becoming. Oh, and on it goes. Lastly, train for the long war. Show man that life is not a sprint, it's a campaign. Build emotional resilience, face rejection, failure, grief, setbacks, and rise anyway. Reinforce that real masculinity is built quietly, daily, in the dark, and revealed under pressure.
Curious for a question.
Amen.
Right? Curious.
What a nice reframe. Thanks, Sam.
So
I like the mood there.
the first version from that video that Matt shared and Sam's first iteration, right? Very, very true and very evident to what we see on a day-to-day basis around us, right? My question, before we go to antidote, why? Why are we seeing this around? Why is it so common? And my follow-up, my part B of that is, well, there's a lot of people, smart people, right? A lot around us. And why don't they see the effects of what is happening?
I'm going to chime in. I'll have a crack here. I feel like, you know, the quote, money, the want of money is the root of all evil. So greed. I think that's the quote. Want of money is the root of all evil. I think when you tie everything to financial gain, it loses. It's not money isn't evil. It's the constant trying to get more and more and more, and a lot of things are tied to that, measured that way. That's the metric. So, you know, I personally don't think someone's sitting there going, "How can we destroy humanity?" But I think, you know, pharmaceuticals are tied to money. So it's all about making money. So you stop trying to make pharmaceuticals to heal people and you make them to make money. So you stop, you know what I mean? And I think if you trace that line back to a lot of our problems, porn, it's the most addictive thing in the world and it makes a shitload of money. You know? I've grappled with this idea. There's a small, tiny group of people that really want to see humanity struggle. I think there's a small group of people that are selfish and trying to make billions of dollars, and then that corrupts and leads to some of these things that we see. It seems like a pattern. Mm-hmm. They're all connected. What do you guys think, Ben?
I'm interested, Janesh, in what you think about masculinity, and you know why it seems anyway. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just our perspective, but it seems like there is an erosion. It seems like many of those things that, you know, Sammy talked about what the devil would do to destroy masculinity. It seems like some of that's happening. It does seem that way. Maybe it's not. But if that was true, why do you think that's happening, Janesh? You know, and I ask you this question because you don't have sons, but you have daughters, and that are feminine and strong. And you know, we've talked about this before. In your femininity, you can be incredibly strong, and they're strong female young girls. And you know, the opposite of that would be masculinity. And you see that in your work that you do at the summit. Why do you think maybe that is happening?
As a whole, I would say society's getting a little soft, and it's there's a song that Si likes from the musical Hamilton. Is what do you stand for is what you fall for. And like people don't stand for anything anymore. They're too scared to, right? They're too scared to be in their masculine or be in their feminine, right? And this is not saying male or female, but just saying being like and owning it, right? They're just they're too scared to piss people off because people are, I'll say it, they're just more sensitive right now. And you can be tactful and very strong, and have strong masculine energy and have strong feminine energy and still be tactful. Like you don't need to be a dick about it. I think there is, but they've put this toxic masculinity, right? And they go, look, I don't want to be seen as potentially assertive, confident, and a leader because that may come across as toxic masculinity, right? And I think they're scared at the same time, and then they just kind of cower because I think it's across the world maybe, but definitely in Australia, like this tall poppy syndrome where like if you go to step out of the norm, people bring you down, right? The norm is weak. The norm is all those things, right? And it's as soon as you go to step out, people don't really want to say they're stepping out. And the ones that do, I think we're fortunate. Our circle does probably step out and we can champion each other in it. But a lot of people don't have that circle. And I think it's they're scared to step out. I think they see the benefit of stepping out. They see the benefit of doing it. And I think they're concerned in getting it wrong. A lot of people are concerned in getting it wrong, so they don't do anything.
What do you think establishes the norm? You know what I mean? So you're saying that the norm is mediocrity. It's, not kind of, I guess it's tied to belonging, right? Yeah. What do you think has established this idea of toxic masculinity? Where have these norms come from?
I think a lot of it from media, I would say. What do you think, Ben?
Well, I think you've raised a good point there, but I wasn't going to say, but I think that's true that the media does latch on to, something that has, it's clickbait, and and I think media gets kind of hooked on those kind of things as we've seen them do many times. So I think that there's probably a little bit of that driven, and given that we live in a world now that many people get their media from social media, or YouTube, and as we all know, once you look at one thing on any of those platforms, it just feeds you more of the same stuff, more of the same narrative, and you actually have to be. I'm really aware that I have to be very conscious of making sure that I also look for the other narrative when I'm looking at stuff. Yeah, you have to be because it's so easy to be going, yeah. There's another one. Yeah.
That's the trigger for me to watch something that I don't agree with. Like when I'm like, yeah, so hard though.
It is very hard.
It feels so good to reinforce what you know to be true.
Yeah.
And then you have.
It's a real trap. So, I don't know whether I spoke to you guys, but Logan recently put a post up about toxic masculinity. Did I tell you guys that?
I think I read it. I think I read the post.
Yeah. So he talked about toxic masculinity and that really it's an oxymoron. Those two words can't go together. Like as he said in the post, you can't have toxic courage. You can't have toxic honor. You can't have toxic protection. Can't because those things are masculinity. So, if someone's being a bully, if someone's being a dick, that isn't masculinity. That is something else.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So, like courage, there is no bad courage. Courage is courage. If you're being violent, well, that's just not courage.
Mm-hmm.
And so he basically did a post on that. Got hammered.
What?
It was good.
I could imagine. I could imagine. Why do you think though that toxic has, like, it's instead of saying putting a negative pretext to the word masculinity, right, as opposed to, she said it's something else. Why has it been easy to put a pretext to masculinity, femininity, whatever, man? Like, why have they? Why is it easy as opposed to go, oh, this is something completely else? Like, it's super clear as you articulated. That is not masculinity. That is that's something else.
Mm.
Why do you think we've gone to putting that pretext of saying toxic?
Well, I just think it's one of those. I think it's one of the things. But you know what? If you can do toxic masculinity, then you can do toxic femininity.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
So if masculinity can be something, then femininity can be something as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we don't see toxic femininity being thrown around.
No.
What would that look like too if there was toxic femininity? What would that be?
I don't know if there is a thing, mate. I think it's another. Like, femininity, as we were just saying, femininity in all its glory is great.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would define the other, but I would say there's another. Like, I wouldn't say bitchiness would be toxic femininity. You would say it's bitchiness, right? It's bitchiness. It's other. It may be coupled in that, but it's different. And actually, I should find the clip. Anthony Robbins really talks really well about the masculine and the feminine, and every male or female. You have a bit of both, right? And honoring either one well, and not pushing them aside, right? And I think it's the other. And yeah, but is it just again, just because we're moving to this woke nature, that toxic femininity, that people just don't want to talk about it, or they don't want to talk about the other, what's in the too hard basket?
It feels like it's got to be tied to that feminist movement, right? Like, if you've been, for a long time, men probably were oppressive, so then the pendulum swings back the other way. There's this, rightly so, but then it goes too far, and then people create these toxic masculinity, and they create this concept of masculinity being, unhealthy. It's kind of like, you know what I mean? It's trying to find that equality again. It's got to go out of balance before it can come back, maybe. Feels like.
I mean, I think, and I think this is true for both of you. We're having this conversation because we're worried about, and I think, to be truthful, I'm very careful if I use the word worried, because I don't worry about much, but I am actually worried a little bit about society and where it's heading if we don't get this sorted. Because I have two daughters, only one son, and I'm worried for my daughters if we don't get this masculinity, femininity thing right. I'm worried for your daughters, Janesh. If we don't get this right, it will affect the women in the world. I really believe that these two energies are so powerful and so strong, and they are designed to be together, that if we don't get it right, it's going to get messy. Now, you only got to look at just even slightly under the hood, and you'll see that there is now some real issues around dating, around people, coupling up, that it's kind of got messy. Women are struggling to find a male, men are struggling to find a female, because it's got kind of confusing. And I think something you said earlier, Janesh, was the idea that masculinity is, I think you said it's something like confident and protective, and a couple of other words that you used. I think for my daughters, and maybe I'm seeing it through my lens, that's exactly what they want in a man. It's exactly what they're looking for. It's exactly what Eden's attracted in her man, and I know it's exactly what Bella's looking for in her man. Someone that will stand up, someone that will be determined, someone that will be driven. That's what they're looking for.
Create certainty.
Yeah.
For
That's
sure.
it seems to be what a masculine energy does. Creates certainty through strength, through like you see, I don't have daughters, but I'm concerned just for young men because I know how hard it was for me to sort of to get to a place of it's hard. It's hard, right? It's hard to find a place of belonging. There's so many little traps along the way. Like I look back and I'm like, look, it's amazing that I made it here and I didn't, give up or I didn't get sidetracked or, convince myself that I didn't want the things that I want because it was going to be hard. Like, I just think we're making it so much, like, it was challenging in the 90s, 2000s. Now I'm like, how do the kids do it with phones? So much like just outside information telling you what is healthy to be and what they're telling you is healthy to be is the exact opposite of what I know to be true. Like, it's wild. And that's been happening for years with health, like with basic things like, diet, like, healthcare, like big things that you're like, how can a society get this so wrong? Like be telling you, eat these things and you'll be healthy. And actually it's the exact opposite. I'm thinking about the food pyramid. Like I grew up with the food pyramid. I ate everything based off that food pyramid. And then we find out now that food pyramid was a marketing scam by the food industry and it's exactly the opposite. Like there's an example of that's madness. And so if you've got young men who don't know who they are, who aren't confident, aren't those things, don't know how to create certainty, don't have any direction, aren't encouraged to do hard things and suck at stuff. They're encouraged to just do what feels good and path of least resistance. Man, it's scary.
You said something there, Matt, where you go, they don't know who they are, right? I think that's a big one where they go, they're not comfortable to just be, right? And same with females. I think they're not like, I don't want to be perceived as strong and confident because they're no, hold on, that's I'm going to be
arrogant. That's arrogant,
bitchy, blah, right? And I go, there's a version of that you can do in your feminine energy that is attractive. That is like, oh wow, someone walks in the room and they own the room. Like, okay, great, but it's not. But they're like, it's this not knowing who I am, not comfortable in being them, which is causing both parties to go, I don't know, I'm waiting for the other person to do it, but the other person's not doing it, and they both have that same mentality. And as you said, Ben,
because they're doing it wrong, right? You know what I mean? They'll point the finger and go,
they're not just being
wrong because he's toxic, or
you do it.
Dude.
I'm waiting for you to do it. And when you said Ben, go like the dating scene is like it's a shit show because like either side's waiting for the other side to do the same thing that they want to be done, but that means no action, right? So it's like chicken and egg.
The OnlyFans stuff is just, that's an example of toxic femininity, like that, you know what I mean? The ability to be promiscuous and do whatever you want, right? Like some of the stuff I see on there and I'm like,
why are you on that, man? How many subscriptions do you have there?
Dude, I don't know why this happens, but there's this one girl that, I don't know what her name is, but she's the porn star on OnlyFans that tried to sleep with 1,000 people in a day. Right? I don't know what her name is, but she just gets plastered everywhere on my social media. And I don't click on it because I'm like, I don't want to encourage this stuff and it's disgusting. But
you clicked on it and?
No, it's like, why is the algorithm sending me this, right? Like, why does
tempting,
this
mate.
come to me?
The devil tempting you.
Yeah.
It's like, why is this being pushed? Do you know what I mean?
Because
my brain goes, this is gross. This isn't like, it's not healthy. It's not a good thing. You've got someone like, let's give an example, your son, Logan, who's promoting really cool stuff like good food, work out, struggle to develop strength. I don't see him getting blasted everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like the algorithm is pushing toxic stuff because, yeah, like you said, it's clickbait. So it's making money, right?
Making
The
money.
back end of that is making a shitload of money. Logan's not making money because he's telling people stuff they already know, right? But they're just not willing to do. These people, it's all, oh, if I can do this, I'll be happy. Oh, yeah, watch this, I'll feel good for a minute.
Yeah. That's what you see that with, just so much. Like this guy, I really like some of his interviews. Stephen Bartlett from the Diary of a CEO.
Yeah.
So, but he puts titles in, like in the titles of his podcasts are, these jobs won't exist in 24 months. Containment has failed. We must prepare for what's coming. The next podcast, the dangerous truth behind sugar-free. The woman that makes millionaires. We're lying about work-life balance. The real reason you're always exhausted. You have no dopamine. And just other really controversial topics that I just go, dude, you're better than that to put clickbait sort of titles in.
But he's playing the marketing game, right? They got to play the marketing game to go. If he's not going to get viewership or listenership, it is the first 3 seconds of someone's attention. And if you don't get that first 3 seconds, and there is not like, oh, what is that? That's a little different. Oh, that's a little spicy. The people fucking scroll. There's so much shit going on, and it is like. Yeah, I hear you say you're better than that, but it's a marketing game. It is
but it's getting spicier. It's getting spicier. It's like movies now. They've got more gore. They've got they've had to take it to the next level.
They have to
get the attention.
We're desensitized ourselves. Yeah.
And where's the roof on that? It's just going to get more and more gory. Like I like action movies, and I'm watching action movies that I'm turning off now. Because I'm like, you watch the knife go through the head and everything come, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to watch that. Like, I prefer it back in the, I don't know if you've ever gone back and watched movies from your childhood, but sometimes it's not worth doing. It breaks your heart. But I've gone back and watched some of those old movies, the early 2000s, 90s, 80s. It's wild, the progression of the violence. Like, if you go back to the 90s, there'd be kill stuff, never see the body. You just know that they died. You know what I mean?
There's no blood. They shoot a gun, and there's no
falls over.
There's
yeah. And in 2000s, they started to get a little bit more. Like you'll see the death, you'll see some blood. Mid 2000s is getting gory. Like now, it's over the top. It's like, where does it stop? Wild.
Yeah,
little
it's tricky.
Young minds shouldn't see that.
Well, I just think about, I've just noticed with Mav, my grandson, who's, let's say 3 months old now, because there's a TV in, most rooms of the home now. I know Nick and Eden only got one, but they might be sitting there chatting away and the TV's on in the background. He's on the telly. He's focused on the TV. Yeah, he's looking at the TV. And I caught him out on this, and I said, guys, your baby's already addicted to the TV. And he got shitty because he was on my lap, and we were sitting. There was a UFC fight on, and we're at Nick and Eden's UFC fight
Uncle Ben for wrecking my one good thing.
Grandpa Ben.
And so I've got him facing me, and he's trying to get his head around. And then he cracked it. He actually had it. He cracked it, and I turned him. Basically, put him on my lap to face the TV, instantly settled, and just started looking at the UFC fight.
Dude, I honestly, when I think about having kids, I'm like, how do you do it? I'm on my phone, I reckon, if I check that app, it's probably 3 hours a day, right? Maybe it's a little bit more. But in the evenings, there's an hour there for sure. Some nights I'm better. It's like half an hour, I'll read a book. But definitely, if there's 7 days in a week, 4 of them I'm on my phone for an hour in the evening. I'm like, if I have a kid, I'm destroying them 1 hour a day. They're 100% going to do this after a week with me. How am I supposed to have a kid that isn't addicted to a phone? How can I tell them, no, you can't have a phone when I'm on it 5 hours a day? Like, I'm like,
And the other thing that I noticed that happens too, which is big, is hi Mav, like look, here's Grandpa on the phone, FaceTiming, and he's looking at the phone. And our kids these days are so used to parents look, let's take a photo of Mav, and he's up looking at this thing. That's in his face so often. It was never in our face.
Have you seen The Artist? This tripped me out. I'll look it up if I can't remember. You might have seen it. He uses AI to take out the phone out of everyone's hand in pictures. And so it just has the picture of a person like on a train staring at their hand. And it is the most, it's terrifying. Like just zombies everywhere, just looking at their hands. It's wild. It's like football stadium, and all you can see is 100 people just staring at their hand. It's so true.
That's cool. Mate, send that to us.
I'll find it.
Gents, I'm aware of time. What would be some of our great conversations? We talked about a bunch of things. What would be some of our take-homes and tidbits that we want to share with our listeners?
I need an answer to this kid thing. How do you do it? Somebody?
I think, for me, I don't think we've come up with a solution. We didn't come up with any solutions. I feel like there was a little bit of a bitch moan session today.
True.
But I think we've got to have some bitch and moan sessions, because it's out of this that the pot gets a little stirred, and we go like, okay, let's have an awareness of that. Let's what is the little thing that we could do maybe? I think that needs to happen. I had a workshop last night. I run a workshop once a month in my chiropractic practice, and I spent the first half of the workshop stirring the pot, talking about the current state of our healthcare system. Victorian government's about to spend $13 billion on healthcare over the next 3 years. They're not spending it on healthcare. They're spending it on sick care. And, and so we explore that conversation, and I don't come up with a solution for it to some degree. But we need to, have these conversations and stir the pot a little bit, and have conversations with people around it, rather than just be fed a conversation on a screen and it kind of just dies with us. And this is what we used to do as a society. We used to catch up, we'd have coffee, you see the old wogs sitting, around having coffee and smoking a cigarette in the piazza, and solving the problems of the world. Yeah. Mothers clubs, mothers groups used to catch up, and this was the pub on a Friday night, beer at the pub on a Friday night, and defrag and debrief on what's going on in the world, and that's just not happening. So I think just the conversation and a little bit of a bitch and moan session, I think good things can come out of that. I would encourage our listeners to find a few friends to catch up with and have some philosophical conversations. We have these a lot in our house. I've got to be honest, a lot of it's driven by Logan, and often he wants to have these conversations at the most inappropriate time, as I've just come back from a run, and I just want to sit and defrag with my bowl of cereal or whatever it is, and he's like, Dad, what do you reckon about this? Do you think Jesus really exists? Like, dude, I just want to eat my brain.
I just want to eat my food pyramid design. Cereal of death.
All brand. Listeners, get on the all brand. If you're not on the all brand, get on it, particularly if you're over 50.
Keep it regular.
Anyway, that's me. What about you boys?
Matty?
I'll touch on that, because I think that's really cool. They're having conversations. Like, you get stuck in this echo chamber with your phone, and we were saying that earlier in the podcast. It's not healthy to keep feeding what you already believe to be true. Like, you've got to, all great things come from pressure, from friction, from being challenged. And we do live in a society where people are struggling to associate with people that don't agree with them. And that's toxic. Like, you need to be able to disagree and still be friends, right? Like, I can completely disagree with your opinion on something and still value you as a human being, because the measure is your values, not what you think. It's deeper than that. And I think that's something that we've really lost, is that you don't need to agree to be friends or to admire someone or to learn from them. And yeah, I think that you're right. Conversations, real-time conversations, sitting around a fire, having a beer, playing pool, however you facilitate it is super important. And I love this process just because I get to chat to you guys. I get to, have some different conversations and think differently about things. You guys always slightly change my perspective, and I appreciate it. So, yeah, I reckon you're onto it, Benny. Dinesh?
Good one, Matty.
I would say there's value in, it's just saying what Matt was saying there, value in challenging your thought process. And I think it's a way to change your norm, right? Change your norm, reframe your norm, give you a different perspective, right? And I don't think that happens enough. And when we were talking about antidotes of what would change the norm or what would pull us away from it, it's like the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? If we kind of still hang around with people that agree or consume media that agrees with us, right? It's just going to keep solidifying that belief. And I think it's be curious to go, well, what about the difference? What about other bits and pieces? And yeah, I'd be okay to stray away from popular opinion.
Man, I want to just underline what you said there. I think curiosity is the key. Like, if you're in a conversation and you're curious what that person thinks, that can be the antidote to you being so tied to your own opinion. You know, it's not a battle where I have to make you concede that my idea is better than yours. I'm just curious, man. Why do you look at it that way? I think curiosity is really important.
I think we demonstrate that too, by the way, on this podcast, because we're all very opinionated people. Yet,
no, that's not true.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah, I am. And yet, despite that, we go, well, hang on, what do you reckon, Janesh? Like that's often what we start off with. Something will be posed, and we'll go. So, well, first of all, let me hear from you. And I think that's really powerful. Well done, guys.
Well, thanks again. Great conversation as always. And listeners, thanks for tuning in. Till next time, have a good one. Thanks for listening to another episode of Lifelong Learner. If you like this episode and want to know more and hear other episodes, head over to lifelonglearnerpodcast.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter, where you'll be the first to know when new podcast episodes come out. And if you want to say hello, tell us a joke, or ask us a question, send us an email at hello@lifelonglearnerpodcast.com. Thanks again.